First about Western Sahara and the civil society in Sweden. Yes, we like debate, and we tend to debate different parts of the world in different groupings, both in the public debate, but even internally in the parties. Let me say, the views on Western Sahara differs from party to party, from paper to paper, and it's an open debate. In our constitution, it's the government that form the foreign policy in the constitution, responsible in front of Parliament. And the government's position is very clear: to support the United Nations view on Western Sahara and even the European Union. And let me at the same time point out, in our own problems in the past, we have been not always, as I said earlier, glorious. We have been pragmatic. We dismantled the union between Sweden and Norway after a referendum and a peaceful agreement between the two countries. We had a clash with Finland after the Russian Revolution in 1917. There is a big island group in between Sweden and Finland. About 97% are Swedish speaking, don't understand a word of Finnish. They voted heavily for unification between Sweden and the island group. And there was a clash. And there was intermediation with other countries. And then the solution was they will have a Finnish flag, but self-governing. Most of them goes to Swedish schools and universities looking on Swedish television because they don't understand Finnish, but because they are talking Swedish of traditions and hundreds of years. For us, borders between our neighbors and us is not that important anymore. We are in the Union. We have free labor market. We are moving around. This is not a big issue. And before our peace treaty in 1814, we fought our neighbors almost all the time, in a very cruel way too, I'm afraid. That is part of our history. But the peace has been pragmatic, successful, and served the Swedish people well. But it hasn't been always glorious, but pragmatic. Contact information, yes, I take that. But we don't do things like that as a parliament, but we can handle on for the debate, discussion groupings that might be interesting. Because it should be an open debate, and that there is an interest. There's always an interest in what happened with good friends. What about territorial integrity, independence? Yes, I think that is about the same answer. We would like to see a pragmatic solution in the best interests of the people, and that is the main issue. Algerians sending Syrians to Morocco is hard to judge for me about. Let me just say, Sweden is the country in Europe that by far getting more migrants per capita into the kingdom than any other country in Europe. The only competitor is Germany. We take much more than Spain, Italy, and so on. By far the largest group coming into Sweden for the time being is from Syria. And they are allowed to stay due to the situation in Syria. It's a tragedy in Syria, there's no doubt. I think all agree upon that. And I can't foresee a very fast solution either. About Algeria and Morocco and Syria, this must be something one handle between countries. I can't judge what you do, Morocco, Algeria. We all have a responsibility to support people that are in serious trouble, fighting for a better living, fighting for survival, so to say. Do Morocco meet the criteria for the European Union? It's just to meet the criteria. It's our way of handling it. And that we say to the Eastern European Partnership too. And that's up for proof. And then it's up for other countries in the Union to have the same opinion. Let me be quite frank about Moldova, Georgia, which we support heavily. France is not that attracted by new members from the former European Union. Close any doors. It's a possibility, of course. Then anyone could of course, apply for membership, but then it's up to the union to decide upon what should be done, if I meet criteria or not. Then about tangible cooperation between trade and other things. Let me say, we try to facilitate, then it's up for business sectors for cooperation to make decision-making about investment, import, export. We try to have good relations, try to take down barriers for trade and understanding. And we believe understanding between Parliament and government is of course very, very important. Trying to recognize barriers that could prevent further development. I think I stopped there.